Hello world, how are you? It's good to see you. I'm just going to tilt my screen a little bit. Um, how's things? It's half term this week, but I'm aware that next week we're going to be back at school for some of us. So I thought that I would talk today about that potential return. I know that nurseries, reception, year 1 and year 6 are all planning to go back. So I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about how to manage your own thoughts and feelings, and potentially how to manage your children's thoughts, feelings, or expectations. We've got a number of different key stages and ages to consider. So we've got early years, we've got key stage 1 and key stage 2. So I just want to talk to you about those different things. Some of them, the advice is the same, and some of them have particular advice for a particular age group. So starting with the real littlies, I realise that some of the children who are potentially going back might be 2, 3 or 4 years old, going back to nurseries. And it's really hard to manage their expectations when they're going to go back. And one of the reasons for this, particularly when they are 2 and maybe 3, is that they haven't quite joined their different worlds together. So when they're at home with you, that is their entire world. Although they might remember that there are people and places outside, it's quite hard for them to relate to that. And when they're in preschool, that is their whole world. And although they remember their home and their mummy and daddy and brothers and sisters, they haven't quite connected that these are all different parts of my life. So you'll notice for some of them that when you take them to preschool, they may be reluctant to go, even though they love it, because you are sort of ending the world that they're in, the world with you, the world of home, and you're moving them to the world of preschool. And the transition is difficult, and they are clingy or fretful or tearful when you are there in that world with them. But within, the teachers, the key workers will tell you that as soon as you've walked out that door, the tears stop, because they've made the transition from one place where they're happy and settled and thrive to the other place where they're happy and settled and thrive. But the transition is tricky. So I would say that because they've been in one place for a long time, you might feel, even if they're looking forward to it, that when you get them back to nursery or preschool, you will be finding that you're having this again, even if they're really, really keen to go. And that might be because when they get there, of course, it won't look like how preschool normally does, or nursery. It looks different, it's changed. Things are set up differently. Certain activities will not be there, like sand and water play, things where body fluids and sneezes sort of gets in the mix. Play-Doh won't be there, things like that. It's all stuff that can be cleaned and wiped down regularly. So that you need to manage your children's expectations. So first of all, dealing with this sense of remembering the world of preschool, you may be able to show them pictures that have been taken of them in the setting if you have their profile book, or if you have memories when you've gone in and watched their Christmas play, done Easter egg hunt with them, other situations where you've got pictures of them in the setting. That's really helpful. Pictures of them with their key worker, if their key worker will be there, because there may be some workers that don't return straight away. You may want to remind them of the activities that they enjoy that will be there. So things like blocks and bricks, things like outdoor play, probably your setting will have sent you a list of things that they are doing and are not doing, and it would be good for you to remind your children of those things and show them pictures of those things. Look on the preschool or nursery website for pictures of the setting, just to remind them of that world that they're going to go back into. Talk about the routines of the morning. So some certain things will not be there, but there'll be parts of the morning, like the snack time, the garden time, the story time, the group time, parts that you know will be there, that you can talk to them about, remind them about, and maybe even act out these things. Make it into role play so that they can relive it. You might even want to get small children to be the person in charge in role play, so that you are the pupil or nursery child or reception child, and they are the teacher. Because when children take charge and give instructions in play, that is one way in which it's helping them to take control of the situation, to express anxieties or excitement or all kinds of emotions. So that's really helpful for them to be able to be the one in charge in role play. Try to talk about the people that will be there. If you don't know if people will be there, for example, particular friends, if you're not sure if they're going back, they may not be sure if they're going back, don't particularly mention those people. But if you know which key workers will be there, talk about them. Talk about people, other children that you know will be there. Talk about those, but do remember, manage your own expectations about how it will be when you first start dropping them back. I would expect that there may be regression, that they will be upset like maybe they were at first when you first started dropping them off and settling them in, because it's not the same. It's almost like a new setting in some ways, because they might be confined to a certain part of the setting. They may not be able to mix freely with the other children, and so on. You may also want to talk to them about things like, can they remember what to do if they need the toilet? You may want to be able to help them to do basic skills that they are expected to do, like lift their cup and bowl off the snack table, or put tissues in the bin for themselves, to put on coats or hats, or change into outdoor or indoor shoes, so that you just remind them and their muscle memory of the skills of independence. So that's some things about little ones. And I would include that for early years and Key Stage 1. Most of those things are appropriate and helpful for those children. Okay, I would say to all parents of children of all ages that you are the touchstone for your children. We know for ourselves, don't we, that when we were growing up, when difficult things happened, maybe when somebody died or someone was sick, or moving house, or breakups of parents, all kinds of things, we learned how to manage it by watching our own parents manage it. So I'm going to come on to talk about that. So, but a little bit more as we talk about year 6 children. But even for these little ones, the fact that you are going to show confidence and calmness and trust in the teachers and in the setting will tell them that they can be calm and they can trust the teachers. And so they will be looking to you for the cues of confidence and being able to be happy in this situation. I would also say for all children that we need to think about not our worries, although we have them, to think about what might be worrying our children and to deal with those worries particularly. So we as adults might be thinking of worries like, I'm worried my child is going to catch the virus and bring it home and then we'll all get sick. Your child was more likely to be thinking, I don't know if my friends are returning to school. I think their parents might keep them off. I'm worried I'm going to be lonely. I'm worried I've forgotten those math skills we were doing and I'm going to be really all at sea in that lesson. I'm feeling that I haven't done enough work at home and I'm left behind. So what I would say is you need to just be able to talk to them. This is particularly with older children, but with Key Stage 1 as well, to just talk about the things that they're feeling and to deal with those things and keep your worries and anxieties to yourself if you can. Some children might be feeling annoyed, basically, that their siblings are allowed to stay at home and they're going to school. They might be concerned that the classes are all going to be mixed up and not as they were. So lots of things that we won't even be thinking about are going to be their main anxieties. So I just want to give you some pointers to try and spend time with your child, saying, how are you feeling about going back to school? Allow plenty of time for them to sort of respond. Don't jump in and suggest. Try and button the lip, zip the lip, and just allow them to process, turn it over in their mind, and just come out with it. Try not to prompt that at all. Because if you say, are you worried about catching the virus? They'll probably say yes, but that's not actually what is the thing that's going around their mind. Or they may just ask you a question, obviously at the most inconvenient time, as you're trying to turn the light out, go downstairs, when they're in the bath and relaxing. At some moments, they will just say, do you think so-and-so is going to be back at school? Or do you think we'll be allowed to play football in the playground? Or something will come out. So the first thing I would say, whatever they're talking about, whatever those uncertainties are, say, what do you think? And just the process of verbalizing it and thinking it through might be really helpful for them. It clarifies for you what is behind that question. And sometimes it clarifies for them what their concern is about that. Or, the fact that none of us know. I'm just turning this over in my mind and I've got it out and that's helping me. So number one, ask, what do you think? And then it's good to go through, well, what do we know and what don't we know? So for example, am I allowed to play football in the playground when we go back? Well, we know that normally you can, but no one has ever experienced a situation like this. We're all learners. The teachers are learners, and they've got to work out what's safe. So but we also know about social distancing, and we know that we shouldn't get too close to one another. What don't we know? We don't know how many children are going to be at school, and we don't know which of the football guys are going to be there. We don't know what the rules are going to be in the playgrounds next week, but we do know that the teachers are putting your safety first. So think about what you don't know and what you do know about the situation. And then explain how you are kind of squaring this situation, this unknown question. So I can't actually tell you the answer to that question, but I do trust the teachers and all the staff at school to put your safety first. And if they think it's safe to do so, they'll allow you to play football. But if they don't think it's safe, they won't. So explain how you are sort of making sense of it. And then you might need to say, do we need to do anything else about it? So probably in terms of football, no. But in terms of other situations or other questions or queries or uncertainties, you may need to say, do we want to plan in any other steps as a result of this? Do we need to ask a question when I drop you off? Do we need to, whatever it is, talk to somebody? Do we need to Google something? So on. So you might decide just talking it through and waiting to see what happens is enough. You may want to, just follow it up in some way, depending on what the issue is. So the next thing I would say, and this is probably specific to older children now, Key Stage 2, Year 6, they're going to have lots of changes, aren't they? They are going back to school now because they're the ones that are going to transition up to secondary school. So this is a good transition from lockdown back to the school they know, but different. And then they're going to transition again up to secondary school in September. So it's kind of good practice for them to do this, to go back now. So one thing that you need to do is just model to them with the uncertainties or the questions or the queries, how you manage, how you navigate unknown situations. So for them and for you, this COVID return to school is unknown for all of us, and how that will pan out across the country. The second thing is that when they go up to secondary school, you've done it in the past, but you've never been a parent potentially who's seen a child go up to school, and they've never done that. So it's good for you to demonstrate how you kind of prepare yourself in a practical way and how you prepare yourself emotionally for things. So help the child to get ready. Don't do all the getting ready for them, but help your child to get ready. So obviously, how do I manage when I am doing something for the first time, going for a job interview or starting a new job or whatever it is? So I write a to-do list of all the things that I need to do. So let's do that together. I make sure that the clothes I'm going to wear, so in this case, school uniform, potentially PE kit, is all ready a day or a few days before. So it's all packed. I make sure that I've got all the stuff in my bag. And you might want to say, well, on the first day of something, let's say that we'll always have a treat in the packed lunch. So that gives you a little thing to, to get up and get out for on that first day. So we're going to put in your favorite biscuit, or, make your favorite sandwich or wrap, make fairy cakes or something that you love to put in there, and so on. So we get ready physically, polish the shoes, get them to do it so that they are preparing themselves to go for that return. How do I make myself emotionally ready? Well, that's harder, but allow your children to see whatever that is. So when I am feeling stressed, I might write in my diary, or, feeling stressed today, I might phone grandma and just say, oh, I just need to talk to somebody about da 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 da. Allow your children to see that you do that. And be prepared to be, the person that they come and talk to. It might be that you do something relaxing, that you do breathing exercises, go for a walk. For some people, it might be doing something like I light a candle and say a prayer, so that you can just show how you prepare emotionally. So show that and share that with your children. The next thing you need to do is just to help them to frame their anxieties. We've talked about this already. Help them to explain their own thoughts and feelings. Name emotions. So if you say, how are you feeling about going to school? What do you think about going back to school? And they say, it's not fair because I'm going to school, but sibling is not. Name the feeling. Are you feeling irritated about that? Are you feeling frustrated about that? Are you upset about that? Name the emotion. For all children, whatever the age, name the emotion that you think that they're feeling. That really helps them to verbalize emotions rather than to act them out. So for older children as well, you may want to explain to them what part they have in the bigger picture of going back. So for year 6 children, you can say to them, you're going back because it's going to help get the whole country back on its feet. We all have a part to play. So finding their place in the bigger picture might really help them to understand why this is happening to me. It's getting the workforce back, getting the mums and dads back, it's getting the economy going. It's bringing our country back to normal. Okay, so the next thing to do is to equip them. So we've talked about little ones, reminding them about toileting. And if they're going out in the garden, to remember to put their hat on and to help them to do that. Or remind them that we always ask someone to help us put our sun cream on. Help your older children to, if you're feeling lonely, if your friends aren't there, what can you do? What can you do at school? If you're feeling worried in class because you've forgotten the skills, what can you do? Usually it's just find the right person to tell, isn't it? And be able to explain, maybe give them the vocabulary to explain that. One really good skill that I'm just going to share with you is positive self-talk. And this is a skill that we do in handling anger from Care for the Family, but it's a really great thing. So when I am in a situation that I'm anxious about, I respond in an emotional part of my brain, not in the rational reasoning part of my brain. So I'm sort of processing like anxiety or stress or feeling awful. And when you're in that state, you know that you don't think rationally and you don't sort of reason it out. You're too busy feeling that stress or that anxiety. So what you need to do is deliberately move it consciously. Instead of, if you're feeling stressed, if you feel that sort of stressfulness coming on, to move it to the place where you say, where you talk to yourself in your own head about it and say, well, I'm sure that everybody has forgotten some of their math skills. I'm not the only one. If I ask the question, I'm sure that other people will be really glad that I did, because they're probably feeling the same. So you can talk to your children about, if you feel anxious, try and deliberately talk to yourself, like consciously in your mind, about what is this situation and what can I do about it? And the thing about the whole COVID and the return to work and return to school is we're all at sea. None of us know. So you can equip your children by saying, look, none of us know how this is going to work out. None of us will know which skills we've remembered or forgotten until we go and try. None of us will be able to get back, and our friends won't be able to confidently return to school until some of us start the pattern and find it's okay. So the fact that nobody knows until we start might be a helpful thing, and a sort of a positive self-talk strategy to sort of give them, when you're feeling anxious, remember nobody knows until some of us try and blaze the way for everybody. And finally, I would say give your children great feedback. Tell them, I really admire the way in which you have been sensible in getting on with this. I really appreciate the fact that you have packed your bag. I like the thing you've chosen in your packed lunch for your special treat. I think that you are being really grown up about this. So all the way through, give them plenty of positive feedback about how they're doing. And even if it's just a really small thing, you need to find those good things to compliment them about. Because they've never done it before. They're learning to be more grown up. So encourage them. And finally, I would say plan in a celebration, maybe after the first day back, or maybe after the first week back. We're going to do such and such, a real treat, whether it's a particular meal. Maybe the returner or returners can choose what they're going to have on Friday night for tea. I think that's a great reward. Or it may be some activity you can do together, whether it's a film night, board games, bike ride, whatever it is that they would love to do. Celebrate with some positive family time. And I would say that if you've got siblings at home and one or two returning, the sibling or siblings at home should be the ones who help to prepare that celebration for those who have returned. So I hope there's some useful tips in there, whatever age your returners are. Do post a comment. Just let us know what your thoughts and feelings are on the return or how you've got on. This video will stay up now on Facebook. We're not going to take it down. So do check us out and comment and give us feedback. We'd love to hear how you're getting on with the return to school. Okay, enjoy the rest of half term, and we'll see you next week for more positive parenting.